So I thought today I really wanted to share a universal experience of roughly 100 billion sentient beings on this planet. And these are beings who are raised and killed for food. These are animals. Yeah, because there's so many of them going through this, I just really wanted to share what their experience is like that we help to facilitate. So these beings, these animals, they are purposely hidden from our sight every day, and they're in high security enclosures so that their experience doesn't become visible to the general public for good reasons, because people don't really want to know about this or see this. And if they did, I think they would be sad. I think they would feel resistance. This is not an easy topic for people to stomach, but it's happening, and it's happening so much. And I've often thought about what it's like to be in their shoes, like, the kinds of sufferings they go through. I thought to share some photos that are mild, because I think that helps people understand kind of the process. I'm going to talk about chickens today. I could talk about many other beings. I could talk about pigs or fish or sheep or any other living being, but I chose to focus on chickens because they're the most abused animal on the planet, and they actually don't have very many rights, because people like to eat them. So I thought I would start with the process by how they live their lives. So first, they take their rebirth in the world. And their rebirth happens on a series of conveyor belts. And, sometimes they hatch on these conveyor belts. And this is a hatchery. So hatcheries produce and sell chicks to factory farms. And they live on a production line. And even if the chicks have hatched yet or not, they're placed on this assembly line. And it's a very fast process. So even if these chicks have hatched yet or not, they have to go to a destination. And they have to get there quickly, because this is the process. Consumers want to have their food. So because this is such a fast process, chicks are often roughly handled. Yeah, they're roughly handled by the workers. Sometimes they're stepped on, sometimes they're thrown, sometimes they're kicked around. So in this picture, chicks are being separated by their sex, by their gender. They separate the females out. The females, they have their beaks trimmed because in these factory farms, they're stressful places for the chicks, and they often peck each other out of frustration and anger and fear. The males also get separated out. The males don't get used, so they're thrown into a shredder. And this is standard in the industry all over the world. Again, these are billions of sentient beings who go through this. Yeah. This is what a factory farm looks like. You can see there are thousands of little chickens. I think it's the case where it's an average of 10,000 chickens, maybe more, maybe less. They're put onto this kind of farm. They're in this shed. What you see here in this picture is actually free range. This is the free range label that people don't know about. But it's actually an advertising technique. So it's free range in that they have some space, but as you can see, they don't have much. The space that they do have is like a little hole, and they either can't find it, or they can't access it, or their bodies grow so big that they can't move and go outside. So this is just a picture of one of the many, many, many little chickens. So chickens, they can live to be about 10 to 12 years old. But these factory farm chickens, they live to be about 45 days old, so they're quite young. And this one that you can see in the photo, he's grown at such a rapid, or she, I should say, she has grown at such a rapid rate. Her legs can't support her body. Either her legs have broken, or yeah, she's just overweight. And there's many things that can happen with these little chickens. I mean, the ground isn't very clean. The sheds aren't very clean. They're very dirty conditions. So, these chickens, they get like ammonia burns on their little bodies. Their organs can't support them. So it's not easy for them. It's very difficult to live this kind of life. In this picture, you can see there's two chickens huddled together, and they're very heavy. And usually, if they can't stand, their legs kind of splay apart. So again, like the advertising says on products, these chickens are not happy and healthy. There's no chicken in these conditions that is healthy, that lives a healthy life. There's just no way. It's just the nature of the body they've been born into. This body has been, manufactured by people to grow really big. They get packed into these crates a lot, especially when they're in transport. They get kind of shoved into these crates. And, injuries can happen, wounds can happen. They're treated very roughly because, they're seen as objects. People see these beings as objects. And again, you can see in the picture how scared this chicken is. So after 45 days, once they have grown, they are transported, to the slaughterhouse. And, these transports are also very uncomfortable. Chickens go through I think they get transported for 12 hours. It takes 12 hours sometimes on average to get to the slaughterhouse. And other beings, other animals, sometimes it takes them days. It's many days to get there. And usually during these transports, these beings, they're not given food or water, they're just not. Once they arrive, I won't go into detail about this part because this is actually, this is hard. This is hard to bear. But as you can see, they do get shackled, and they're hung upside down. And yeah, usually these animals, they're very afraid at this point. This is an environment that they're entering into, which is, it's bloody. There's chickens screaming everywhere. Workers usually have to yell to each other to hear each other because it's so loud. I often think about this. I think about what it must be like to go through this. Because I've seen the footage, I've seen videos, I've seen pictures, and it's so vivid, it's so clear. Yeah, it's amazing. And so many beings go through it, And something else that this makes me think of when I think about animal suffering, particularly factory farm animal suffering, is this helps me kind of understand the hell realms. This helps me get a clearer picture of what hell realms are like, as close as I can. Because it's happening on Earth, for these sentient beings, this is a hell realm, And it's just a very violent industry. And the workers who work there, they're not happy. Often, workers who work in this industry, especially on the assembly floor, they have psychological kind of effects from this, some severe psychological effects. People experience depression. Some of them experience suicidal thoughts. Many of them drink on the job, This is not a good environment. I know people look at chickens generally and they think, oh, that's just food, that's an animal, that's food. But, this isn't just an animal. This is a living being with feelings, with thoughts, with experiences. Yeah, this being matters and their experience matters. So Here's a picture of someone giving water to a chicken who's, about to go to the slaughterhouse. Yeah, so there are people around the world who are doing really good things. They really care about animals. They have a lot of compassion, and there's a movement. It's called the Animal Save Movement, and they host these things which are called vigils, or bearing witness, where a big group of people get together, and right before the animals go to the slaughterhouse, they give water to the animals, because they've gone days without water, So you can see that they're spraying water. I think these are pigs. Yeah. Yeah, these people, like right here, they're kind of my heroes. I think what they do is so beautiful and so inspiring. I mean, yeah, there's people like this all around the world who do this, and bearing witness is like an act of love and care for these sentient beings. And you can just see, the compassion. And again, these activists, they feel so much compassion because, they know like what these beings are about to go through. And there are so many people around the world who are doing good things for animals. There are sanctuaries, many sanctuaries, and they take in rescued animals, they rescue animals, they educate people. And they also do outreach. There's some people, they put up campaigns. This one is like, it says, I feel, I think, and I know, trying to get the message out there that animals are, sentient beings. This little chicken was, a factory farm chicken. I think they're rescued, and I think their wounds are being treated. And this is something that Farm Sanctuary does each year, where I guess they have some rescued turkeys here. And for Thanksgiving, they let the turkeys eat. So, yeah. So it's like a little, just kind of like a paying back, like, you guys are great, you deserve happiness. Yeah, so basically animals are sentient beings, they're living beings, they want to be happy just as much as we do. And it's not easy to see that, the ignorance can be very thick, and we can look at them as if they're food, but, they have personalities, they're intelligent, and regardless of their intellectual capacity, regardless of what their body is shaped like, their experience matters. I hope this benefits animals.